For 8 samples we use this, for 8 DFT we use this formula, students. So we will put from 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, right, in our main equation. What is our main equation? Omega n power n is equals to e power minus j 2 pi k n by n, right? That real factor. So this is our real factor, right? We will substitute in the value of n. What is n now? 8. So 2 pi by 8. So 2 ones are 2 fours are 8. It gets cancelled. You will get the pi by 4 n. So that n values are what here. So we substitute that value. We'll get this one. So e power minus j pi by 4. So cos pi by 4 minus j sin pi by 4, 1 by root 2. Cos pi by 4 1 by root 2, j sin 1 by root 2. Likewise, cos e power minus j pi by 2. Cos pi by 2 minus j sin pi by 2. Cos 90 degree 0, sin 90 degree 1. Likewise, e power minus j 3 pi by 4. So cos 3 pi by 4 minus j sin 3 by 4, 3 pi by 4. So it is minus 1 by root 2, j by root 2. Total value is written here. Likewise, e power minus j 5 pi by 4. So we can write cos 5 pi by 4 minus into minus, this will become plus now, because sin 5 pi by 4 will be minus j 1 by root 2. So this will become now this factor, total real part and imaginary part both. Similarly, if you put 7 over there, it will be 2 pi will be left and 1 by root 2, and this value will be obtained. So those are called it as students. Those are your real factors values we wrote it. Now we need to know the magnitude and phase response of your any real complex number. If you do have any complex number, if you want to find the imaginary and real part on that, if you want to get that, how do we write the real part of it? Suppose you had a function, any function. If you want to write x plus iy, suppose I want to write x plus iy form. Let us see one example. Let's see how do we write it down. If you want to write x plus iy in the form of real part and imaginary part. Good afternoon, students. So welcome to our online session for digital signal processing and application. In today's class, I am completely concerned with problems related to your DFT and IDFT using Prudhoe factor. Okay, by using the Prudhoe factor for 4 point and 8 point, we are going to do that one, and we are going to solve some problem regarding that. So in the previous sessions, we cover and we talk about the discrete Fourier transform and inverse discrete Fourier transform. We talk about the Fourier transform as well, right? In today's session, I am going to explain you the brief discussion what we have discussed in the previous session. So first let us move ahead with that. So in the previous sessions we talk about, we do have a Fourier transform. Fourier transform is nothing but when we do have a signal like this. See, you have x of omega, that is summation n is equals to minus infinity to infinity x of n e power minus j omega. This is for Fourier transform, right? What is e power minus j omega n? It is called Prudhoe factor. If you want to substitute the value of omega as 2 pi k n by n, right? This is angular frequency we are converting, and we want to write down that one. So we are writing in this format. So DFT would be the same. Omega we are converting into k factor. That omega I want to write in k in terms of k. So when I want to write in that form, so when I want to convert your two-sided signals, so your two-sided signal into the signal-sided signal, then I can do it by applying this particular phenomena. So this one I need to substitute, and I need to find out that, and I need to utilize the DFT. Okay, so by applying the DFT, I can able to substitute and find out the answer for it. So we have done the problems, right? DFT of omega is 2 pi k n by n, and IDFT is what, students? So this k we are converting into n. So this k value, whatever we do have, we are converting into n when we try to write the same formula. So instead of n is equal to 0 to n minus 1, we have taken k is equal to 0 to capital N minus 1 x of k e power. Instead of minus j, you are putting as plus j, right? Jk 2 pi k n by n. So this is the formula. So we have seen difference of both DFT and IDFT, right? It is converting x of omega to x of n to x of omega. FT and inverse FT. So FT we are using to solve the problem, so we are converting with that, and similarly we are proceeding with IFT as well. So IFT, what is the meaning of IFT, students? Inverse Fourier transform. That it will be reverse. So what is the IFT? So what is FT actually? You can see here, right? X of omega, the same one. But in IFT, what I'll write? Will apply with 1 by 2j. We'll apply 1 by 2j instead of x of n. We'll write x of omega e power plus j omega n. The same thing we'll write. Okay. As do have for DFT and IDFT, the same thing we can write it for that one as well. Next, coming back to the calculation of that, how do we calculate? We can calculate by considering this twiddle factor. So we have seen now, students, in the yesterday's session we talk about this omega n. What is this omega n wn? It is called it as twiddle factor. It is given by e power minus j 2 pi kn. If your endpoint n is equals to 4 point, we'll write omega 4 power 0, 4 power 1, 4 power 2, 4 power 3. We'll substitute instead of this formula wherever n is there for n small n. This is small n value, we'll substitute here, not mentioned. That it will be 2 pi n into small n. Small n is 0, small n is 1, small n is 2, small n is 3. So we'll substitute in e power minus j theta with cos theta minus j sin theta. We'll substitute, we'll try to find out the answer for it. So now this is for 4 points. If it is for 8 point, same thing. 8 point means omega 8 power 0, omega 8 power 1, omega 8 power 2, omega 8 power 3, omega 8 power 4, omega 8 power 5, like that till 7. 0 to 7 will be total 8. Always you need to remember, whenever we'll apply butterfly diagram, you have to use this concept. So see, what is a periodicity property? Whatever the value at omega 8 power 0 is there, that same should be repeated for omega 8 power 8. That should be same for 8 power 8 of 16, 8 of 24, 8 of 32, 8 of 40. These are periodicity, the symmetrical properties. And if you had any real number, suppose I consider a real number, a real function. Let us consider now a real function. I'll try to explain you how it is going to work. Suppose I do have a real function. Let us consider one example over here. Let us see that. So suppose I am considering this an example for it. I do have an example x of j omega. Suppose, let us see. Just give me a moment. Suppose I'm considering x of e power aj omega. I'll show you. I'll show you with the example. If I want to take a real part, how do we convert into the magnitude and phasor? Okay, how do we write the magnitude and the phase form of it? So to do that one, what I'll take just an example here. So let me just take. Suppose my z value. This is my z value. Z is equals to what I had. Suppose my z is equals to x plus j of y. Okay. Suppose I do have this one. X plus j of y is there. That is my z. If I want to find mod z, how do we apply? Student, tell me what is mod z? Mod z would be, what is a mod z? Root of, right? Root of real square. What is the real part here? X square plus imaginary square. Imaginary is what? Y square, right? This is mod. This is the called magnitude form. If you want to write phase of that, phase is given by theta, right? Theta is our phase, right? Theta is equals to, what is the formula I can write for this? Tan inverse of whatever the angle we do have, we'll apply that. So I'll always, to get the phase, we'll apply tan inverse of imaginary, that is y by x, right? So this is our theta. So whenever we want to write the magnitude and phase, we'll apply in this way. So we always try to write z value, mod z value, that is root of x square plus y square, and we try to write the angle for that. So we will apply this way, theta and that one. Clear? So this is also one of the way we can represent the phasor form and the magnitude form for given component. Clear? So we need to utilize that and we need to write it down. That's the reason here is the given. So mod of x of k is root of real square plus imaginary square, and angle of that will be x of k is tan inverse of your imaginary by real. Clear? So we need to write it down whenever we try to find out the value of it, and whenever we try to write the value for phasor form and magnitude form. So we need to utilize that particular value in order to understand the response of it. So as you can So students, so further we are going to learn about it, DFT and IDFT difference of it, and we are going to see this difference between that two. And in the sum of the few problems in the butterfly diagrams, you are going to use this particular concept that is called periodic property, where W8 power 0, W8 power 8 both are equal. The first sequence, and when it's coming back to the next sequence, that is W8 power 8. See, 7 it is ending, right? Start with W8 power 8. If it's 16 points, if it is 24 points, 32 points, 40 points, those needs to be same. That is called periodic. The repetition of the same period will come. So that's how we have mentioned in that one. And then magnitude and phase response of x of k can be obtained by applying this relation. So z is equals to x plus jy, then mod z is what? Root of real square plus imaginary square, and the theta is tan inverse of y by x. We'll apply that magnitude and phasor form. So similarly, now we are proceeding with difference of your DFT and IDFT. So basically, what is DFT stands for, students? It is called as analysis transform, which already I've covered in the previous session, and IDFT stands for synthesis transform. So DFT is a finite duration discrete frequency sequence. IDFT is what? Inverse DFT, which is calculated for time domain representation form of x of k. So x of k we are converting into x of n by applying this formula. Here x of k. What is the difference in this two? It is converting into n domain sequences to k domain. This is k domain to n domain, right? Here we are putting summation n is equal to 0 to n minus 1. Here summation k is equal to 0 to n minus 1. It's by mistake it is written n, it is k actually. Okay, k is equal to 0 to n minus 1. X of k e power plus j 2 pi k n by n with 1 by n. Okay, so DFT is also can be obtained by applying your twiddle factor into x of n by using matrix form, right? IDFT can be obtained by keeping 1 by n as it is, but inverts w of n, that is not inverts twiddle factor into x of k. Clear? Because we are converting x of k, right? Here we are taking and x of n. We are converting. We want to get the answer in terms of x of k. Here we want to get the answer in terms of x of n. So that's how we do have. Next we need to understand the properties of DFT. So basically, what are the properties? You can understand with that. You can understand that there are different properties. First, starting from periodicity. Periodicity means whatever the first period is there, it should be cyclic periodic. Means the same period should be repeated after a certain number of samples, as we have seen just now, right? When we are taking the twiddle factor into consideration for 8 point, this what is actually, this is the whatever the value at 0th position, the same value should be followed for 8th position, for the 16th position, for 24th position, for 32th position, for 40th position, right? So this is nothing but the periodicity. Periodicity is nothing but the same number need to be repeated. That is called periodic signal. So what is this meaning is that if you do have a discrete signal, if I want to find a discrete signal like this, if I want to write the signal in this form, suppose I do have a signal like this. Suppose I want to design a signal. So to design the signal, what I am keeping my x of n. I am writing x of k, right? Suppose let I have a sequence like this. Let's give me a moment. So suppose this is my sequence. So what I want to write, I want to draw the sine wave, right? This is what actually, student, this is nothing but your periodic signal, right? So why we am saying periodic signal? Because it's keep on repeating the same, right? With the same value. Suppose this is t with x of t. If I do have this. So the first property of DFT is your periodicity. Periodicity can be given by x of n plus n is equals to x of n. X of k plus n is equals to x of k, right? For the n domain to k domain, we can write in that form. For k domain to k domain, we can write in this form. Okay. In general, if you want to write the periodicity of the sequence xp of n, can be given as xp of n is equals to summation l is equals to minus infinity to infinity x of n minus l of n. Put l value as minus 1, then minus to minus it will become plus, right? If you put x of l is equals to plus, you will get the minus. So for both the values from negative infinity to plus infinity, we can write periodicity property of DFT in this format. Okay. Next we are proceeding with the linearity, students. So what is the basically linearity means? If you had a first sequence x1 of n that we are converting into x1 of k. If you do have a second sequence x2 of n that we are converting into x2 of k. If you want to combine both the sequence a1 x1 of n plus a2 x2 of n, if you want to find discrete Fourier transform for that particular sequence for n number of samples, we can write in this form a1 x1 of k plus a2 x2 of k, right? So both the values I can mention and I can write in this format. So the DFT of linearity combination of two or more signals is equals to the sum of linear combination of DFT of individual sequence. For one sequence if you want to write, we can combine both the sequence and we can able to write for both the sequence. Let's proceed with the next property, students. So till now we covered the periodicity, linearity. Next is circular symmetricity of a sequence. How can you say a sequence should be circular symmetrical? For that thing, what actually the points we need to keep in our mind? We need to keep on our mind that a sequence is said to be circular even if it is symmetrical about the point 0 on the x-axis, like x of n minus n is equals to x of n. We know that, right? X of n is equals to x of minus n, right? In that I'm using one more number of sample as n. This is even. What about odd, students? How can you say the sequence should be odd? The same odd symmetrical means x of capital N minus small n is equals to minus of x of n. Then we can say the given sequence is odd. How can you say the sequence is folded? Circularly folded, we can consider by considering this particular sequence. What is that sequence? X of minus n of capital N is equals to x of n minus n. That means we first take the circulation, we try to fold that sequence and we try to write that sequence in terms of n number of samples. We should get exactly the same as when we trying from x of n minus capital N minus small n. Next, students, what is the next thing we need to keep in our mind for circular property, circular symmetrical property? For that, what actually I'm saying, anti-clockwise direction gives delay sequence and clockwise direction give advance sequence. Delay means minus n, advance means plus n. So if you rotate anti-clockwise, you should get the delay. If you rotate clockwise, you should get the advance of the sequence. So then the delay or advance sequence x of n is related to the x of n by the circular shift. So that is what the concept of circular symmetricities of a sequence for even, for odd, for folded and for advanced or delayed circular shift. So these are the 4 points come under the circular symmetricity of a sequence. Next concept, students. So next is what? Symmetricity or property of a sequence. How can you say a sequence is symmetrical? So I'm saying that symmetry property for real function should be imaginary term should be 0. There should not be any imaginary term. If it is getting that one, then we can say that is symmetrical. This property states that if x of n is real, then x of n minus n should be x of k or x of minus k. It's a conjugate. Conjugate means it's asterisk will write like this. And how can you say a real and even sequence? There should be two conditions. There is no imaginary term of x of n and x of k also be 0. For both. For n domain, for k domain, the sequence must be 0. If we are getting that one, then we can say the sequence is real as well as even. Next, students, this property states that if the sequence is real and even, x of small n is equals to x of capital N minus n, the DFT becomes like this. Only will take what term? E power minus j 2 pi k n by n, right? E power minus theta is cos theta minus j sin theta. Will not write j term. Only will write cosine term because cos is what? Real, right? So that is real part. What about for imaginary or odd? For odd, what we are writing? The imaginary term of n domain equals to 0 and real parts of k should be equals to 0. If we are getting this situation, in this situation I can say that the system is said to be real as well as odd. For odd, what we are writing? We are neglecting the cos theta. We already write j sin theta. What is theta value over here? 2 pi k n by n because e power minus j 2 pi k n by n is there, right, student? So that is nothing but cos minus j sin. The cosine is 0 because real part of that will be 0. Only we'll get the sine terms, right? So we learned first case real and even, second case real and odd, third case pure imaginary. For pure imaginary means if it is real part only sine term is there, if it is imaginary part only cosine term is there. Reverse. Pure imaginary means x of n is j of x of I of n. So when we get this kind of thing, when for real part of k is sine theta, reverse. Imaginary part of cos theta if you get, then we can say that that particular sequence is pure imaginary of x of n. Next, we are proceeding with the finding the sequence in that particular format, students. So we proceed with that and we try to find out the sequence analysis by obtaining its real term as well as the imaginary term. So let us see, students, how do we get that. Now if I am taking x1 of n circularly convolve with x2 of n, if I want to find DFT, then I can write x1 of k into x2 of k. So if I am able to solve in this format, then I can say that the given system is